Hey, I'm Melissa Koerner from friendyourbody.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate green smoothie. This is one of my personal favorite smoothie recipes that I oftentimes will make for breakfast, lunch. I'll have it as a snack, I'll have it for dinner. It's filled with some amazing greens, and it's got a great balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, so it makes for the perfect balanced meal. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a mix of greens. So what I have here is some Swiss chard. I've got some kale, and I've got some baby spinach, and I'm going to use about a handful of each. I've got some green apple here, so I'm going to use one full green apple. I'm actually going to be making a very large batch, so this is something that will probably serve about, you'll probably get about 4 servings out of it. I've got a peach here, and I've already got it cut up and ready to go. I've got a large Floridian avocado. I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm just probably going to use about a quarter of it, but this is going to provide some nice fat and a little bit of protein in the smoothie to make it a little bit more filling. And then I've got some blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries. So we've got a nice mix of fruit here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of coconut oil in there. That's going to make it a little bit filling too with those fats. I've got some ground flax and chia seeds here. I've got 2 tablespoons of each. And then I'm going to put a little bit of raw honey in there just to sweeten it a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my blender. I've got a Vitamix. I highly recommend a Vitamix if you don't have one. They're wonderful for making a variety of different recipes. I use mine a lot to make smoothies. So the first thing I'm going to do is put about 40 ounces of water in my Vitamix container. Okay, so I have about 40 ounces of water in here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my greens, and then I'll add my veggies. And typically when you're making a smoothie, you typically want to start with the liquid first. So if you're making, a smoothie with, let's say you've got, almond milk, or you're using yogurt, you always sort of want to start with that as your base. So I'm going to take about a handful of the kale here, a nice heaping handful. And I'll put that in my my Vitamix, and then I'm going to take probably 1 or 2 big pieces of Swiss chard. So I'm going to take that. It looks like it's a lot, but once you blend this up, it doesn't make so much. Okay, and then I've got my baby spinach. So I'm going to take about a handful of that. Good. Got some on the floor there. All right. And the next thing I'm going to do is put my fruit in. So I'm going to take my apple. I just diced it up into quarters. Put that in. And then I'm going to put my peach in there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is put some strawberries. I'm probably going to put about 6 strawberries in there. I've already rinsed them. I leave the stems on. They're going to blend up nicely in there. You're not even going to know they're in there, but it makes just a nice way to sort of get some added greens. Okay, and then I'm going to put about a quarter of a cup of blueberries. I'm not going to measure them out, I'm just going to guess there. And then about a quarter of a cup of the blackberries. About a quarter of a cup of the raspberries. Good. And you can see that. It's a nice, beautiful mix. It's almost too pretty to blend. And then I'm going to put my flax and chia. I've already measured it out, so I'm just going to pour that in. Okay, and then I'm going to take my avocado, cut off a little piece of that. Like I said, I'm just going to use about a quarter of it, not a lot. This avocado has a little bit of black in it, so typically you just kind of cut that part out, and then I'll use the rest because the rest of it looks pretty good. This one's nice and ripe, so it's coming out quite easily, as it should. Okay, and then finally, I've got my coconut and my honey that I want to add. Move these guys over. I'm going to put, since this is making about 4 servings, I'm going to put a heaping tablespoon of coconut oil. And obviously if you're just making one of these, you can cut these ingredients down to a quarter. You can substitute, you know, the fruit for whatever fruit you like. So many different combinations that you can make. But this is one of my personal favorites. I try to use fruit that has less sugar, so lower glycemic fruits. And then I'm going to take a heaping, this is probably closer to 2 tablespoons of honey. But again, there's 4 servings in here, so it won't be too much for this particular mix. And there we go. All right. And you want to use raw honey, by the way. I don't recommend having pasteurized honey because when you heat it, you kill all the naturally occurring enzymes in there. So go with the raw. I like this particular brand, but there's a lot of good ones out there. All right. And now we're going to mix. Move these guys aside. Gotta find my cover. It's over here. And I'm actually gonna push this down just a little bit. It doesn't stick to the cover. There we go. Cover's on. When you're using a Vitamix, you always want to make sure that you start at the lowest number, slowly turn it up, and then you can go on to high. So I'm going to turn it on and just slowly turn it up. I like mine nice and creamy, so I'm going to go all the way to high for about a minute or a minute and a half. And we're done. As you can see, it doesn't make the prettiest color. It's kind of like brownish tan. It doesn't look very appetizing, but it's quite tasty. So there you have the ultimate green smoothie, and as you can see, I've got a nice big batch of it, so this is going to last me a couple days. Typically what I'll do is I'll have a little bit now, and then I'll take the leftovers and I'll put the leftovers in glass jars, and I'll store them in my refrigerator so that they're ready to go when I need them. So if you like this recipe and you'd like to get more recipes or some more health and fitness tips, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, go to friendyourbody.com where you can download your free Get Fit Starter Pack. So I hope you found today's recipe useful, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a great day.